What's going on, everybody? My name is Psycho, and we're here live on Silence Productions. And here we have Dom, who is an executive producer, and we have our very own, very first Jason Voorhees, played by none other than Big Sexy Chris. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hello, Psycho. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Hi
sir.
guys, it's Dom.
All right. So we we're here to talk about where we came from. Uh, and basically everything that we have to offer. So you guys take it away. Hello?
Hello. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't know
No, it's
who you
okay.
wanted to go.
So let's get started. Let's talk about how it all first started. This Big Sexy. You were there first, and how it all came to fruition.
Yeah. So that picture, you want me to talk about that picture there?
Yes, you could talk about that picture.
Yeah. So I had seen like the Halloween movies and all that, but I wasn't like real big into them. And it was Psycho's daughter's birthday, and he texted me and was just like, "Hey, you're gonna be Jason Voorhees at my daughter's birthday. Get a get a fit together." So I actually had to Google like what he looked like, and I went like the day before and got that jacket and a sweatshirt, cut it up, and Psycho helped me get the rough, rugged look on it. But yeah, it was fun
So this is
seeing
my
the people.
yeah. So this is my daughter right here, right? And this was a year ago. And we're here at Peter Piper's, and my daughter was a senior at the time and in high school, and she was like, "Well, I want to invite some of my friends," and I was like, "Cool, let's go ahead and do a party at Peter Piper's." And as you could tell, these are two silent killers, right? Nobody really, they don't talk. My daughter was born on October 14th, so we've always celebrated some sort of spooky way of, you know, uh, something to do with anything spooky for her birthday. So I've always been a fan of Michael Myers, and one way for me to not talk, to don the mask of Michael Myers. So this is me right here. Here's Big Sexy, and then we invited another good friend of ours, Will, and he ended up being Pennywise. And I collect these masks at the time, and here we are, and it all started because of this young man right here. So this is Dennis. You guys may recognize him from the movie where he gets. If you guys have not watched the movie, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what happened. But I mean, Will is goofy. He completely like. There's like a lot of stuff. He would take off his mask and like talk to all the kids like, "Oh, it's just me. Don't be scared. Boogie boogie boogie." And Big Sexy stayed in character the whole time. Mind you, we had no idea that what was gonna come from this, right? And as you can tell, I'm looking at him like, don't talk to me. He's happy because, he asked my daughter to be his Valentine's the year before, homecoming, prom, or the junior prom. These are my two other kids, and that's my wife. Uh, my wife's funded this whole project, so uh, those are my kids that are patient about their dad being spooky and stuff. So, um, and the whole thing was it was also Halloween Ends, right? Back here we got Ryan, who plays in one of our newer films that we're gonna be finishing up. We went to go watch Halloween Ends. As you could tell, my expression for Halloween Ends was not very, very good, right? A Big Sexy, go ahead and tell them did you ever watch any horror films or anything like that?
Not. I wasn't a big fan of them. Like I'd watch them, but I wasn't real big into them. So like
So
I'd seen, like I'd seen Because growing up, I had a friend that was really big into Halloween, and I'd watch like the Halloween movies with him. Um, I honestly, I hadn't seen any of the Friday the 13th, but and I haven't seen it either. So yeah, no, I can say I wasn't big into the slasher films.
So now fast forward to the day, which was that Friday, right? Of last year, and we went to go watch Halloween Ends, and I had to beg this dude, please go with us, right? Because his little boy wants to go with us too, and let's go, right? And I'm not that overprotective dad, but I'm that overprotective dad. So I'm just like, if I talk to him, then I'm gonna like him. If I like him, then he's gonna stick around, and so forth, right? Just like any dad. And here we are. So we're on this massive date, right, with my daughter, her friend, and my kids,
Friend
and
in quotes.
he's grown on me like a pimple, right? So you just
Yeah, he's a
name him
good kid.
after. Yeah, he's a good kid. I like him. So we go to Halloween Ends, and everybody knows how Halloween ends, right? And I'm not gonna go into details of what how I feel about that movie, but I'm there, and I had to talk to the people, like, hey, can I put on the mask? And they were like, no, you can't put on the mask. I was like, come on, man, like, you gotta let me put on the mask. So they said yes. So I ended up putting on the mask, and they just told me not to wear it during the movie. Um, that for me to take it off while I was watching the movie and put it back on, in the lobby and stuff. So they were real cool about it. And
But I will say, when you put on the mask, you really do become Michael Myers. Like, if people haven't seen you, the way your demeanor changes when you put the mask on, it's insane.
which we're gonna get into those details here, right? So
Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, you're perfectly fine. I'm glad you said it, cause a lot, like yesterday we had another young man who came over to the house for Halloween. We had like a little Halloween get together here, and we donned the mask and everything, and he was like, this dude was a scare person at Six Flags in the same haunted house that my daughter worked at. So um, we ended up, I was already in suit, and so was Teddy, who plays Leatherface. And if you guys seen us before, you guys see who we are and stuff. And this dude goes, I'm low key, like, not even lying. I'm scared. So, like you said, and even Teddy says, like, dude, I can't play Leatherface. Leatherface is 6'4". He's a big monster. And I was like, dude, but have you ever seen yourself, stand next to somebody else? Like your posture changes. Everything changes about you. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. So here we are, and people are like, oh, okay, this dude tried to hug me. And if you're on here, you're watching this. I'm sorry, I don't know y'all's names and stuff, but he tries to hug me, and I just look at him like, see, I remember this, and he's like, he tries to throw me a kiss. I'm just like, boy. Uh,
You even got that Michael Myers head tilt.
so yeah. Um, and people, I'm just trying to find my kids at this point. My wife's taking the photos here, and in behind the scenes, right? And people are just like, Michael, and before you know it, like, we have a whole, like, thing going on. Well, at Peter Piper's, we got somebody had approached our table, right? And this is after, hundreds of people. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. Maybe about 20, 30 people that were the Peter Pipers that night. They were asking us, like, hey, can we take pictures with you guys? Like, we had to ask the manager for permission first, and we did. And they were real cool. Peter Piper's over here off of 1604 and 90. I mean, 1604 and Culebra, and by Alamo Ranch. And so we're not sponsored. This is not a sponsored video or nothing like that. We're just telling you exactly how it went down. So we were there, and they gave us these tickets to Rolling Oaks, right? No, I'm sorry, Crossroads, to Crossroads Mall. They gave us these tickets, and they were like VIP tickets to like a horror festival. And I look at Big Sexy. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, right? We're in our mask still, And I give the tickets over to my wife, and they're like 13 tickets, right? So I decide, hey, you want to go? And he's like, yeah, I've never been. So I was like, let's do it. Um,
Yeah, and then while we were there, we found out the price of the tickets, and to get them for free just because we dressed up. It was crazy. The
right. So we went to the VIP. We walk around, and people are, as you can see here, they're taking pictures, and stuff. And then we get to the VIP area. This is about what 30 minutes or so of us walking around, and then we finally made it into the VIP.
yeah, it took a
So
while because people kept stopping us.
right. So then here we are again. And I went straight for Michael, right? Michael Myers. And this is Jason Voorhees, Mr.
Warrington Gillette.
Right. He played Jason. He played Jason Voorhees in part two, as Sackhead. So if you guys, which Big Sexy, I gotta tell you, bro, like this whole weekend, there's so many people that don't know the origins of all these characters. So in another podcast, we need to break it down, like who Jason Voorhees is, who Michael Myers is, like they're Jason and stuff.
Yeah, what
So
happened, why they
right,
became who
because
they are.
man, I had some little kid tell me, um, how did it feel to drown in a lake? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, who
As
are your
Michael Myers.
parents? I was like, who are your parents, man? So these are my boys. This is Megan. If you guys seen the movie, she's also in the movie. Um, so here we are, and this dude, you talk about me, you know, being in character. Look at those eyes. You're gonna tell me you've never watched any movies before here? I mean, no offense to our boy Jason here, right? The one of the originals, actually the original adult Jason before the hockey mask. Look at him. He looks so happy. He looks happy here. Even here, he looks kind of happy. Look at those eyes. This is before we rehauled the mask, you know. So look at those eyes. You're gonna tell me that. And then this is the real Jason. How did you not fanboy over him?
I told you I hadn't even watched any of the movies at
So you
that
didn't know who he
point.
was. You were just like, whatever, dude. You're just
I
like,
was
this
like,
dude
oh,
trying to put a
cool.
pickaxe in my head. so so Big Sexy brings his machete, right? And it's a real machete, and he brings it over, and he looks at me. And he goes, "Hey, Psycho, you don't have a knife, And I gave him this rubber one, right, for him to walk around in. I was like, no, I didn't bring one, right? And so we go up. There's his Instagram for Mr. Jason Voorhees from part two. And so we go up to Ross on the second floor, and we wait in line. And we didn't take off our masks or nothing. This gentleman here asked us to take pictures with him, and we're like, all right, cool. So we go in there, and he's like, "You want to attack me?" And then I just look at him and like, "Rah!" so so here, this right here. So I get this knife, right, and I bought it at Ross, and he goes, "Who do I make it out to?" And I'm in character, right? So I'm not gonna break character. I haven't broken character since I put on the mask. At Peter Piper's. So I get my cell phone and then I show him. Right. Let me see if it's on here. Let me forward it real quick. Oh, let me go back. There's a photo here that I have somewhere. So I'm showing him my phone, and then he takes my phone, and you know, kind of like older grandpas do. They grab your phone and you're like, don't go through my stuff, right? And he ends up like clicking on my personal profile, and he clicks on my mask. Let me show you my personal profile. Let's see if I can just click off this, off this. All right. So this is what my personal profile looks like, right? And I put psycho right here, right? I point at this. So he clicks on my page and he clicks on this guy. And he points because he sees the name Psycho, and he points at this. And he goes, "Is that you?" And I nod my head, right? And then he goes, "Do you kill people?" And I was like, well, if you guys don't know what this is airsoft. Uh, So shameless plug. I mean, this is gonna come back later on, but I am also the owner of Airsoft Revolution 15. So, if you guys know what airsoft is, we dress up, we shoot people for fun. They shoot us, we die. Milsim. This is at a Milsim organization. Uh, and this is Cycle, the character that we've built for Air 15. And he clicks on this mask, and then he goes sideways, and of course, Marine, and and he clicks on the mask, and he's like, "You look scary." He goes, "Do you make movies?" And I'm like, "No, I got a GoPro on me." And I'm like, and I'm nodding my head, no, yes, right to these answers. So, long story short, um, he ends up saying, "Well, you should make movies, right?" Let me go back to these photos real quick. So he does, right, and I'm in here, I'm fanboying like crazy, right? So if you don't know who this gentleman is, um, he actually played as the stuntman for Nick Castle in the original 1978 uh, Halloween. And meaning that he's the one who fell from the second story building after he got shot 6 times. I shot him 6 times, and he falls, and he hits the ground, right? So this is him. And during this time, um, I'm still in shock. He ends up misspelling my name on there, and I'm trying to like point out like, "Oh, you sir, you misspelled it," and he starts talking to me like like normal, right? Like I'm just a normal person, right here. He goes, "I like your mask," and he starts touching my mask, right? And he's like, um, "I have 3 masks myself," he says. Oh no, there were 3 masks made, and he has one himself, and it's falling apart like him. And and I'm like, don't say, I'm like, don't say that, right? But in my head, and he goes, "You have a really awesome mask." He goes, "Take care of your mask, because your mask will take care of you," right? And I'm over here like, wow, like I'm standing in front of the original Michael Myers, right? Like I'm fanboying, you
Yep. And
know?
I will say that you didn't break character, but that's the closest I've seen you to almost breaking character. You could tell you really wanted to talk to him, but you were in character.
Yeah. Man, I really wanted to give him a hug, because like I was close to my grandpa, and he gave those grandpa vibes,
Yep, he
like
did.
he talked about his story and stuff, and we watched him sign autographs. We watched all these guys sign autographs for people, and sometimes they give you like 2 minutes, sometimes they give you 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then you're off. Like, he actually took some time, and he was just talking to me about it. And then he goes, uh, right there, this is the moment right here. He goes, "I'm gonna look forward to watching your movies." And you can see my face, in here, where I'm just like, "Sir, I don't make movies, right?" And you know, I'm just gonna get to it. So 2 weeks later or so, he ends up passing away. Um, and that kind of stuck with me. So, I could think they had him Jim Winburn on his poster, but his name is James Winburn. Uh, he I, he played the iconic Michael Myers in 1978 as the stunt person who ends up falling through the balcony. He also played so many other characters. You guys can look him up. But this gentleman right here, he was the reason why we decided to do this. He when he passed away, um, he died on November 19th. So my wife's birthday is on November 26th. Uh, so yeah, that kind
It's
of hit
kind of
pretty
like
hard. Yeah, I
it's kind of
mean,
like fate. Like, you met one of your idols, and he told you to make movies, and then he passed away. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
you know,
And then he goes, "Oh, you never know. Psycho could be the next slasher." And I was like, "Don't say that."
yeah.
Like, I shoot. I have guns. I don't shoot. Slashers cut. I would have to change my whole way I kill people at Milsims and stuff. So, without getting too emotional on the topic, yeah, I mean, he passed away. Um, and we didn't know he was gonna pass away. Nobody knows when you're gonna pass away, right? So here we are, and man, if you have anybody who's older than you, just give him a hug. That's in your life, just give him a hug, a big hug. And honestly, that's how all of this started. Um, he those short few words that he told me, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him about anything. He was a mass inspiration, like that boost of energy that you just needed. That year, also another man. We lost a lot of people. We lost our Batman. We lost our Green Ranger. We lost a lot of people. So the whole month of November last year, it was just really bad, right? For like Gen X families and stuff. So it was like if you were a horror nerd or a nerd in general, like you were able to realize like life is so precious, right? So I wrote stories my whole life, and and if those of you guys that know me in airsoft, we whenever we did milsims ourselves, we always try to put some sort of story arc behind it and stuff to where we always wanted to tell a story, and so we did. We got to we I took my daughter back. She loves Freddy, and this is Super Freddy. So I mean, that weekend we had so many iconic slashers there in person, and shoot, we had the Leatherface 3D. He was also there. Uh, there it is. That's where I showed him on my phone, and then that's when he took my cell phone. He was like, "Let me see your stuff." But yeah, that's how it all started. That's the origins of Silence Productions. Uh, we went ahead and we got to filming. I wrote a script. It's here on this YouTube channel, and it's a 20-minute movie or so, give or take. Um, we had a lot of people that helped bring this movie together. We had Teddy, Zoe. I don't think Teddy was a part of the movie, but Zoe was. She was the park ranger. Um, we have Dom
That's
right
me.
here as the operator. We have Deadleg, that's his call sign. Jimmy, who's also in the movie. And we have Lep right here. Jonathan, that's my daughter. This is Gio right here. And this is Dennis. You guys know him. how technically how it all began because of Dennis. So these are our characters, and we also have Megan. We have Brandon Raptor. We also have Tristan. Let's
He
see,
was a little bit later.
right here.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but for the most part, that's our movie, right? We filmed it. We filmed it in what, 2 days, maybe 3 days max.
Two,
Um,
three, sounds about right.
right. And we just launched it, and then we decided. Well, we decided to launch it in Friday the 13th of January. We filmed this in the
Early
second
December.
weekend of December,
I think
and
it's
right, and then I just got to editing. And those of you guys that know me, when I put my heart into something, I don't sleep. So I'm just editing, and I'm trying to produce this movie, and I'm sending clips here and there to Big Sexy, to Dom, and I'm like, hey, what do y'all think? Too much? Too much? Too little? And they're like, dude, it looks good the way it is. Just leave it alone. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do it again. So going back and forth, and then on Christmas Day is when I showed the cast, and they had a good time. And then I went ahead and released it to the public on the first Friday the 13th of this year. Um, we have 2,175 views as we speak. And throughout the year, well, we've done a lot. I think what we started filming again in February because Big Sexy was moving.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of obstacles in the way. I had a manuscript right that I wanted to go over, but I think it's just like flowing the way it's gonna flow for this podcast. But Big Sexy had to move, and so we wanted to shoot another film with Big Sexy before he left. Him being Jason, because we had a lot of stories still left to tell. Uh, we filmed it pretty quick. That took up all of February pretty much. Then in April, no March, we went over to Rolling Oaks Mall, where it was our first MonsterCon that we went to. And big shout out to MonsterCon for having us. And here's the video real quick. And let me turn that down a little bit. But yeah, so and this is when the rest of everybody started joining in, along for the ride, as far as uh, the timeline went in March. So, uh, Dom, how did it feel to play an operator in the movie? Like, what did you expect?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I knew that Jason would be a formidable opponent as far as his size and strength. Uh, but through teamwork and friendship, just more teamwork, we're able to. Well, you got to watch the movie, but we held our own and won sometimes.
So, so,
Probably, for
so,
those who haven't seen
so
it.
for the most part, guys, we're not trying to retell the origins. We're not trying to reboot the series. We're not trying to do anything. We're just trying to give a spin-off, right, of the stories. And uh, Dom plays an operator uh, in the movie here. Let me see if I can.
Oh, there it is. December 10th is when we filmed.
Yeah. So Dom plays an operator because Geo is the son of no, he's the son of somebody who worked with uh, Tommy Jarvis, and his dad already had passed away, and pretty much there's a whole adventure that we haven't filmed yet. That these two guys right here, Dennis and Geo, end up going on an adventure to get the Book of the Dead, right? Which is right here. And they summon Jason Voorhees. So our Jason Voorhees can be, uh, help me out, Dom. He can be summoned. He can be materialized from any body of water. So that body of water just like
Using the Book of the Dead.
using the Book of the Dead, right? Just because of our lore, right? We were able to use that as an anchor point for us to say like, okay, cool. We can't film in Crystal Lake because I didn't have any VFX. I wasn't about to fly everybody to a canyon lake or where they filmed the original Canyon Lake. Not Canyon Lake. I'm sorry. Crystal Lake. And then so we made our own Canyon Lake, right? Here in, I mean, sorry, we made our own Crystal Lake here in San Antonio, in Texas. And went to Canyon Lake to film. Uh, there it is, Canyon Lake. So
Yeah.
we filmed it as if we summoned him, here. And and the reason why I said about airsoft guns is because they actually get put to use right
Right there.
there.
Yes. You're kitted to the T.
So this muzzle flash is actually a tracer unit that we used for the night shot. So this is I wonder if I could play it in super slow motion. Yeah. So what you're seeing there is actual like the 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 airsoft gun, being used in full operation to where they're it's not blank fire. We're pro
Actually being
gun,
shot.
right? We're pro gun here, but we have a lot of airsoft guns, so we're able to utilize uh, our airsoft gear as part of the movie. So here it is again. There's Jimmy. I'm not gonna play the whole movie for you guys. You guys can go to Silence Productions and you guys can click on the very first video, and then you guys can watch it from there. As far as that, um, Dom, how are we on our big sexy? How are we going on time?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm good.
we're about 30
Yeah,
minutes in. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So you guys, let me see if I can bring up my transcript here. I don't have any questions from anybody here live. I got two people watching. Yes, a total of two people. It's probably us. Let me
It's
see.
not
You
me.
had a couple of comments over there.
Okay, so hello from San Antonio. I agree that your stance does look awesome as Michael Myers. Oh, thank you. Uh, Rosinator, yeah. Sad story, but inspiring at the same time. Yeah. So you guys can watch our channel there. As far as that, thank you for those kind comments, guys. Um, and again, we just want to tell you, like who we are. We're not some big budget studio that's trying to reboot these things and make money off of them. We're just massive fans of the genre, but we're tired of, you know, these massive studios using all these resources and they just retell the same story with new actors and you're like, come on, man. Like, or they ruin the story. They ruin the mystique of each character as time goes on. Not all of them do. Some of them are really really good. um and some of them just they don't hit. uh Big Sexy, go ahead and tell them how you felt when you started watching them, and then you called me, and you were like, "Yo, this is what you're trying to do," and I was like, "No, no."
Yeah. So I started watching the uh Friday the 13th, and the actual movies, it took
Now,
me a
without
while to get
offending,
into.
yeah, without offending any
Yeah.
purist, right?
Yeah, it,
Without,
it took me personally a while to get into it. Just I felt like it took too long to get to the story, you know? Uh I guess I'm more of a straight to the point kind of person. Like I just want to see the action. So that's why like I really enjoyed doing the fan film and watching it cuz it's there's action pretty quick.
right, without sacrificing the story. And now,
Yeah,
mind
yeah,
you,
you still understand the
yeah,
story.
yeah, mind you, like when we first started, it was just gonna be like a short film. That was it.
Yeah, I
So
think you said what you wanted it like 10 minutes, right? And
right, and then it ended up being a 20-minute film. I think we filmed like 20 hours of film, and then we cut it down to like 20 minutes. I don't know
yeah.
what the ratio is supposed to be as far as real life filming. But
Versus how much makes the cut.
oh yeah, sometimes you hit it right on the mark, and sometimes everybody just laughs. Oh my god, tell them. One of these days I'm gonna put a blooper reel together for us. But
Oh man, there was so many of them. It
dude, it
was so
was like
much fun.
everybody hit the mark. Dom hit the mark, Lep hit the mark, my daughter hit the mark, Gio hit the mark. Everybody hit their mark perfect, and it just flowed so natural, where everybody was just vibing, and all the all the lines that came out. Because the thing is, whenever I write a line or write a script, it's like, all right, cool. This is what I want to go off of. You don't have to read it because we're not professionals. By any
Yeah.
means, we're not
Doesn't have to be
professionals.
verbatim.
Right. You don't. I don't want you to sound like a robot. I want you to sound like a real person. And you know, there I am. And I'm giving these guys like a lot of freedom. Like, hey, make it your line. Make it you. Uh, and with Zoe being a teacher, she's like, your English is horrible. I was like, I know, just make it yours. So uh
Spent the first 30 minutes correcting grammar
oh
and.
my god, it's just like, Zoe, just make it yours, okay? Like, as long as you hit these key points, like, these are the key words I need to have in the film. That's it. you know so for those people that like to dig for Easter eggs, they'll find them in there. And it's like, all right, cool, because we do a lot of research on these backstories and stuff, and we're trying to tie in some origins, but this is like a parallel universe to what you already know. So if it's not to the T, there's a reason why. We're filming, and we're in like the first act, right? And we're about a halfway through the second scene, and everybody's like, "Damn!" And then I hear Big Sexy's like, "Damn, that was good, guys." And I look over at Big Sexy and I'm like, "How long have you been in the shot?"
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah, I
was
was.
like, "What?" Mind you, Big Sexy is playing Jason Voorhees, but he's not in costume, right? He's not in suit. You know, he's not he's not in character. He's just there with his cut sleeve shirt on, and he's just like behind the truck, and he blends in with the crowd, and he's just like, and mind you, I'm looking through my camera, right? And it's like when you look in through your scope, uh, you get that tunnel vision. You're just watching inside there, trying to make sure your shot's perfect. And then when I pan over to see Big Sexy, or I hear Big Sexy and I pan over to him, I'm like, oh my dude, everybody lost it. They were just laughing so hard for a good 30 minutes. I'm like, even me, man, I'm like, oh, are you serious? And
Yeah,
but
after that, you were like, you can't be in the shot. And I was like, it's my movie. Like, everybody lost the effort.
Oh, yeah, that was
yeah,
funny.
It was
Get
a
out of
while.
the
get out of the shot. Oh man.
That
And it
was
was like the
great.
perfect shot,
Oh,
too. Like, the way the book dropped and everything, it was so perfect. And then.
like you couldn't plan anything otherwise. And like I said, we don't we're working with daylight, right? Where it's the 6 p.m. perfect overcast. It's all these beautiful clouds covering the sun. So it's like perfect lighting. We're trying to race to try to film as much as we can before everybody gets tired and cold. Mind you, my daughter was feeling sick already. Zoe was out of the weather too. Dom was like, "Well, how long are we gonna be here?" It's like, so if you're asking friends to record, a scene, you have to be very patient because we're not paying anybody in this film. Everybody's volunteering, right? And before I filmed this movie, I did a lot of research in directors on how to direct a movie, right? Because we film at the arena, we film like these short stories and stuff, but nothing like this on this scale. So and I see all these directors that are like straight up mean to their cast, and they're like, you get paid good money, da, 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 and they just fall out of them, their emotions. That's why a lot of actors walk back to their trailer and like, man, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm out. And you get a lot of these cast members that are angry and stuff, and the movie ends up taking longer and all these reshoots, and it's like, you know what? I want to have a good vibe, but dude, when everybody's laughing and having a good time, it's hard to get these scary moments. And if you watch the movie, and if you haven't watched it as a fan, watch it as a fan first. Then go back and watch it again. One is gonna get me more views. Two,
It was just funny
two, you
because.
can catch a lot of people grinning and smiling because everybody was having a good time.
Yeah, it's just funny because the shot wouldn't be perfect, but Psycho, he'd say like, "I'll mess with the angles. I'll get it to work." But I do want to say, I told one of my friends that we were doing a podcast, and they tuned in and they watched the movie, and they said it definitely got produced well. All the added touches in post really put it over the edge. So
I
Even
appreciate
for
that, man.
our first, fan film, people recognize what you can do. And I told him you were. I don't know if you want to get into all that, what you're doing now to help, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll touch on that towards the end, on
okay.
that part. So so yeah, so we we're trying our best, and we're filming on different properties and stuff, and we're trying to ask for permission without getting shot. It is Texas, so
Mm-hmm.
you have a guy who's running after a girl in the middle of the night, and you get her head cut off. And we're using prosthetics and we're using practical effects of blood and stuff. So it's like, I'm not even worried about the police officers, because the police officers just watch you from the distance. But it's the other
those
characters that are
those
like,
vigilantes.
yes, our Batman in Texas that we love so much,
Yeah.
that are like quick to be like, yo, what are you doing? Pow! And it's like, no, it's just a movie. And a lot of the filming that we did for this movie was spur of the moment. It's like, bro, you look so good in your mask. Let's go film real quick. And it's like, okay. And then I'll put together a scene real quick off the top of my head, and we filmed it. And it was just like, all right, cool. We'll add it to this. We'll add it post. We'll make it work. Um,
Yeah, so it's like almost a year later, I finally got all that blood cleaned out of my truck, off the windshield and the dash.
oh my
It was just,
god, bro! Thank God for YouTube, because like that's how I learned how to make blood. Because we couldn't buy blood. It was already after Halloween.
yeah.
So it's not like we could have just gone to Spirit Halloween or anywhere, because everybody was already sold out in December. So we were like, well, you know, I never thought about just buying it off Amazon either. I mean, I guess maybe I
Oh
did
yeah,
look
they
at it.
probably sell it year round, huh?
Oops. But so there we are. We're making our own food coloring and stuff, and you know, while he's getting shot up, and blood splatters coming out from his behind, from behind him and stuff. We're trying to do what we can with our practical effects.
Or
Yeah.
when Dom tried to keep it in his mouth for a scene.
That wasn't fun.
Oh my god! I was like,
Oh
"Dom,
man.
put it in your mouth," and he's like, "No."
Mm. Oh man. And then
Yeah.
my pants ripped on one of them, man. It was. Oh, there was a lot of great moments filming, man. It was fun.
So, oh man, like, and then like we would try to film like three different cuts, right? So you have your first cut, right? And it's pretty straight to the point. You tell them exactly what you envision in your head, and you're like, this is what I want you to do. And Big Sexy, as big as he is, he's so gentle whenever he grabs somebody, and he's just like, no, 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 I want you to like grab him again, like, bah! And then he's like, okay, ah. And I'm like, no, 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 again like this, and so
I'm
uh
gentle for the people that I like, but like Geo, remember, I like really slammed him and fell on top of him. Oh man.
oh man, I don't even think I made that part of the movie. Oh
Oh,
no, that
that
was
was when we
that
were
was
filming
yeah, that was
when
part
I
two.
was moving. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that
right.
was part two.
Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler.
Oh yes, yes. When you guys fight, our anime fight, where we got more serious with our fight scenes. Um.
Yeah.
So yeah. So again, we're not trying to retell these stories from the past, or we're trying to give it new life for each character, right? So,
Build our own universe.
mhm, yes, sir. And that's what brings me up to this picture here, right? So, and Dom and Ruben, who's not here with us right now, he's actually at work. All these guys are my friends, right? And they're all within our circle. And I have these guys up till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, well, how do we tell this story? And what we want to do is we want to tell a trilogy of Jason, right? A trilogy of Leatherface, a trilogy of Freddy, and a trilogy of Michael. Michael's gonna be tough because what they did to him at Halloween Ends. But so let me see if it pops up the way I want it to. No, it didn't do it the way I wanted. There it is. So we already filmed Friday the 13th. Let the hunt begin, right? And by the title, you would think, well, the hunt was Jason Voorhees hunting the people who summoned him. But there's more to that. Right now, we're in the process of reshooting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Storm, with Leatherface because, like Big Sexy was saying, we're filming, we're going to these Comic Cons, and it's fun. Like we're a part of the community. Uh, we get tons of people who are asking us for photos, and the photos are for free. So and we don't, like I said, for me to try to make any type of money on these IPs, I don't have that much money to buy these masks and to buy the cost, the suits and the shirts and the ties and the blades and the machetes and everything. I could barely afford that. What makes you think I can afford the IP or the licensing for each one? I'd be bankrupt before I can even say, cut. So nothing is monetized. Nothing on our YouTube channel is monetized. So we don't charge for photos. If you guys want to tip us, cool. We're gonna use it for the movies. We're gonna use it for my camera. That I had to buy a new camera because we lost the older one.
No, not
Mics.
not not we. We didn't lose it.
I lost it. So, uh, like he said, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that I wish we could not have happened, but it happened. So moving forward, so if you guys ever see us at a con and you're scared, like this past weekend, yesterday, Halloween, there were so many kids that were just scared, and I'm talking about teenagers, 20-some-year-olds, even adults that would just stare at us in their car and they're just looking at us like, they had their cell phone out, but then you're like, my daughter was like the handler, like they do at Six Flags or at Disney World, where they have that one person who's like, "Would you like for me to take a picture?" And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, go for it." And then you take a picture with the person or the character, and she's telling them like, "Oh, my dad's gonna have a podcast tomorrow, explaining what's going on, who we are, what we do, and so forth." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So they pull up our QR code and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm never gonna go follow you. You're gonna send me all these spam emails and stuff." Nah, we're just fans like you guys. We're just trying to tell our story.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like that actress when we went to one of those. Uh, they had made a movie and they were there, and she was actually terrified of,
oh
and she played in
yeah,
like a real slasher movie. Like,
yeah. It wasn't one of these guys, but it was their slasher. It
yeah,
was it was
it
another
was a
movie.
big name company too. Like they had like a real, like, I don't know how to explain it, but
A real studio.
yeah, there you go, a real studio.
Yeah,
But it was gonna be like, yeah, like on Netflix or whatever. Like,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, she was shaking. She almost fainted.
uh,
Um, like I think that was the first time they had told Big Sexy like, "Can you grab her from the head?" And it was her mom, right? And Big Sexy's like, "I don't want to grab her from the hair." Like, remember, he's like a big gentle giant, right? So he's just trying to hold her head and he can feel her shaking from fear of how he looked, right? And sure enough, like, and then I get my knife and I bring it up, and she just looks at it, and she can see her reflection on it, and she's like, at that point, she's like, "Mom, I'm terrified." And the mom's like, "Just take the picture." And this is a real actress, right? So it's like, what? So again, we're trying to do our best as far as create the real characters. If you get it confused as, "Hey, I don't remember this in the movie," then we did our job. I feel like we're doing good. If I get one more viewer that watches our movie and they like it, cool. And that's good. That's the beauty about being a fan film production studio, is like we have no partners. We don't have to answer to a set schedule or anything like that. So whatever it is that we're trying to do, we're trying to perfect it for us to be able to tell our story. Um, so like Big Sexy said, I'm taking these classes of learning how to film, film production, uh, how to film a movie, a horror film, different angles, different colors that you use in the movie. Man, like in the first movie, right? And the one that's on YouTube right now, I had one of my newer actors for another movie, Dom. We call him Dreads, and and we also had Joker, Kean Woods. He was running behind me as I'm trying to film, and he's got the lights, the LED lights, above my head, and I'm just like, run behind me real quick, cause this dude, man, when Tristan took off, I was like, Tristan, just take off like you're scared, and this dude took off, and I'm trying to hold on to the camera in the middle of the dark, running at full,
Trying to get the right color scheme and yeah.
and poor guys were like, it's okay, I'm following you, and so it's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot. We don't have all this cool equipment and stuff, so I have to make it do with what I got. We have been kicked out of some areas uh, by security, even though we asked the law enforcement, like, "Hey, can we shoot here?" They're like, "Yeah, go for it. You want my lights?" I'm like, "Yeah, please, let me use your lights." And and they're like, "Just don't put me on camera." I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." Um, but we have been kicked out of some areas because they're like, "You can't be here," and they're like, "Well, who do I have to ask permission?" They're like, "We don't allow filming here. Period." It's like, "Oh, okay, thank you." And I know you have to like get permits and stuff, but man, like I said, when you're not making any money, it's hard to film like that.
Yeah.
So I'm learning a lot of VFX for the environment. So now we can film in Crystal
Crystal
Lake.
Lake.
Now we can do those special effects, those VFX. We still want to use practical effects. I paid a lot of money for all these masks. I want to make sure I get the most realism as possible. Um, and but as far as the environment and stuff like that, I am taking a class that teaches me how to use these VFX. I know the real quick one we threw together for Jason versus uh, Freddy versus Jason. That was just green screen drop back. Just that way we can get it out for Halloween. And that's what I was gonna say. So in doing so, right, in producing these movies, you know, this one was a 20-minute film or so, right, not including credits. This one's gonna be a full feature film. So I don't know what the length is. Right before I decided to reshoot the entire movie, because the thing is, it happens during a storm, right? Which we'll cover over this story in another podcast. But I got to the storm part and I was like, man, we filmed this whole movie without there being a storm. So it's like, how
That's
practical?
what's good about not having to answer to anybody or have a deadline. You can
Yeah.
perfect it how you want it.
So even though the acting was amazing in this one, I just like the lighting, like everything was just so bright and beautiful, and it was just like, well, uh, we're gonna have to refilm, guys. And everybody's like, oh, are you serious? Like, what about this? And then in doing so, I ended up doing a lot of research on a lot of movies and why they fail, and why people end up backlashing. People are gonna backlash no matter what. You can't make everybody happy. I get it. But the most common thing was people go to these movies to watch Jason Voorhees. They want to watch Leatherface do his thing. They want to watch Freddy Krueger, torture people in their dreams and stuff and scare them. They want to watch Michael Myers. That's why Michael Myers uh, is such a massive icon when he's not part of the movie or he's made to be an old person and just dies really quick. Man, I had a little kid tell me
No,
yesterday.
no shots at any companies or anything.
I had a little kid tell me yesterday, how did it feel to die of an old lady? I was like, boy, man, I gave him the most. like through my mask, like I just like head snapped to him, and my daughter was using the smoke machine, right? And it was perfect timing because when I snapped at him, he was like, "Oh God." So,
That's one
uh,
where you wish you could talk and be like, "Do I look dead?"
yeah, a perfect example, and you know, diving into their stories in phase one is what we plan on doing here. Um, oh, this was supposed to be the movie, but we ended up switching over here again, which I'll go over again here in a minute. But so in doing so, in making these films and trying to perfect them, um, and trying to perfect their stories and the color grading and the angles. Man, the first opening scene, Dom, you want to go over that? I know you haven't really had a chance to talk, but you got to see both of you actually, right? Got to see the opening scene for
Well, yeah,
Leatherface.
I remember some of it. It
So
just
go ahead.
go, no. You preface me in. I mean, I remember the first scene as
Yes.
far as it
No, you can go over
being
it. So basically, the first scene is very, very graphic, extremely graphic. It's a shock and awe, right? Because if you look at this Friday the 13th movie, right, and you watch it, there's some graphic scenes towards the end, right? Even
graphic, a little intimidating, but
right,
chills just kind of put in there.
right. So good friends of ours, when we first started releasing this movie, they actually allowed us to do it on the first Friday downtown, and they hosted us. Big thank you to them. So if they're watching this podcast or they're listening to this podcast, big thank you to them. I won't name drop exactly their names because I didn't ask them for permission to put their names out here, but they helped us out in doing the first. You know, hey, we went out to the streets and we're like, hey, you want to watch a movie? Come watch over here. And they put it on there, and Dom was able to catch like the behind the scenes of them watching. They laughed, they gasped, they were in shock when the summon happened. Our host, who hosted the movie, had chills up her, and she just stopped. She had to get up and leave. But she came back and rewatched it, and she was like, okay, I can deal with it. Now, this one here, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even our actor tells us like he's a big fan of Leatherface, right, and who he is and the origins and stuff, and he really wanted to be as true as the original portrayer was, right? And I'm like, okay, man. Well, I mean, we gotta make it YouTube friendly, right? Because this is our only platform that we can stream on. So it's like, hey, if we can just keep it to as real as possible without getting too crazy. But that opening scene is very graphic, very brutal. This and this that was a statement. It's a statement saying like this is not the same Leatherface that you grew up with. Um, what do you think, Big Sexy, as far as that opening scene?
Yeah, very, like I said, very graphic. But it catches your attention and makes you want to watch more.
Right.
Like
So,
if that's the opening scene, you're like, I want to see what these guys have more.
mhm.
Like what else they have in store.
So that scene right there caught your attention, and that was a perfect uh, hook, line, and sinker, right? But then as I got on through the story and I started writing the script even more deeper, because I remember I wanted to write the entire story around that. Then I had to give her a purpose. Why was she in the movie? Why was she even in that position she was in? And like, how did she get there? And as I started trying to explain this, I was like, whoop, this whole movie just unraveled into something completely different that I wanted. And, I had to go back to Halloween Ends, and Halloween Ends was a love story. It's a perfect movie for a romantic horror movie, I guess you want to call it. But since it was attached onto Halloween and it was attached onto Michael Myers, like it was hard for people to swallow that as a pill and say like, oh, this is what I came to watch, and that's why I decided, you know what, I need to reshoot this entire movie because this movie became something it wasn't supposed to be. Um, and same thing with all these Marvel movies. A lot of people go to the movie thinking that they're gonna get something, and then because the previews show this, and then when they come out, they're like, dude, it was the entire comedy. Like it wasn't even what I thought it was gonna be. So I had to revise that story. In doing so, I was like, you know what? With the storm and the effects and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and redo all that stuff. I'm gonna finish this school and I'm gonna do that because when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street, all that plays into factors, with the boiler room, the dream sequence, and all that stuff. There's only so much that DaVinci Resolve allows you to do, and that without color grading and all that stuff, like you still have a lot of effects that you got to do for Freddy, and I want to make sure I hit the mark with him, and so I had to learn all those tricks and stuff. So in doing so, again, a lot of these actors are on borrowed time. We don't know what tomorrow has to offer. Like for instance, like I said earlier, it was supposed to be these two versus each other, and my Leatherface got sick, so I couldn't shoot the verses here, and so, but Freddy was ready. Last minute he was able to come in, and we were able to shoot a scene, and so that's what this is, the series one. Uh, It's a six-part short film series, and this is just a supplement between the bigger budget films. I don't want to even call it a bigger budget. It's like the bigger production films, the longer films. So, because of scheduling and kids being in school and college and stuff, so, I don't want to, school comes first, and everybody's volunteering again, so I can't force people to show up all at once when, hey, I got homework, I got this. So it's like, understand, and you get tired of having to replace actors after actors after actors. So it's like, you know what? It's okay. We're going to postpone the filming for this, but in between, my actors for these guys, and, Mortal Kombat just came out, and I know there's rumors of different characters being in it. And I was like, why? That'd be a perfect time. I know people have done it before, but now with Dom talking to me about Star Wars and how they fight and how a fight scene is supposed to tell a story. It's not just, pushing and shoving and punching and kicking and this stuff. You have your beginning, right? Your introduction to each character, right? And their monologues, if they have any. And then why are they there? Well, who cares? They're there to fight. Let's fight. And then it's like, boom, let's go. And this guy gets in a few good licks, and then this guy, counters it, and you know, it goes back and forth, and that's what people love to watch sometimes. So, without diving too much into all the details, you have your climax, and then you have all this stuff. We're going to go into the details as far as this series here is not gonna be tied in to the phases. This is a different non-canon, Dom, or canon. How would you say it?
Canon inspired.
Yeah, canon inspired because this is actual stuff that happened in the movies, in the original movies. And since we are
Mhm.
picking from them to make our real movies, okay, I guess that is canon then. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. So it's a six-part short film movie series. And then we're gonna go over the pod on our podcast. So podcast series one in our next ones. When we go over these movies, it'll be the skills, the strengths, the agility, the weapons that they use of each character. And in the second podcast series, before we release the movie, it'll be the locations, right? Because there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, well, Freddy only won because he was in the Dreamworld. Well, Jason only won because he was at Crystal Lake. You know what I mean? So they have to fight in each other's backgrounds, and each other's strengths and weaknesses and their feats and their, stuff like that. So, because of my availability to my characters, this is what landed, and this is what you're getting first. Eventually, we'll have Freddy versus Michael, Freddy versus Leatherface. These two going at it, or Michael Myers versus Jason.
Jason wins.
For looks or what?
Just in general.
We'll see. We'll go over all that, and we'll have you guys vote, and you guys write down in the comments below what you guys think as far as the series. Um, is it something you're willing to look forward to between the bigger stories, the bigger movies, and so forth?
I might just have to make a trip back to San Antonio for that Michael versus Jason.
We might. We got our newer Jason watching on Facebook right now. Um, it was hard to. I'm not gonna say replace you, bro, but it was hard to find somebody. And the next time we have him, next time we talk about his, we'll have him online so we can go over how he acted and how natural it is for him to pick up where you left off. I even sent you the footage right afterwards. I was like, bro, check it out. I go, this is my boy. He's been my friend for a little over 12 years now. He was
Yeah,
like,
he looks
oh.
really good. He's got that intimidating posture and demeanor. So
So from one Jason to the next.
yeah, he looks good. He's a good number 2.
So phase 2, guys. So we have 3 different massive phases here. So I'm gonna just pull up all 3 real quick, and then we'll close it out. I know we didn't go over everything I wanted to talk about, but it's getting late. So phase 1 is basically us telling you how they're connected to the original slashers that we love and grew up with. Phase 2 tells you how they're our slashers, Silence Production slashers, right? And then phase 3 ties all 4 of them together and why we decided to tell this story. So that's it. That's pretty much it. If you guys want to give us a like, follow, you can. We have our OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. We have all of my links. We have Facebook. We have TikTok. We have Instagram. This is our studios casting. So if you guys want to volunteer your time, if you feel like you can act in a horror film, go ahead and click on this page here. It'll take you to a page, and then there goes like a list of things that you can do to join our Discord, and that way we can schedule everybody as far as all that stuff. Um, we have our YouTube channel, and we also have Twitter. I know a lot of older folks like to use Twitter, or like the popular, more rich people use Twitter. So we have
Pretty
to
sure
use
it's
them.
called X now.
Oh yeah, X. Well, I mean, it still says Twitter. X, Twitter. Once they start allowing videos, what do you think they're gonna name it? Just saying.
X.
Yeah. So moving on, guys. Dom, do you got anything for them?
I think I'm good. I mean, that was pretty straightforward. You got everything. Oh, a lot of things covered. Part 2 next week, possibly, if you're up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would like to maybe go over our list of things that we didn't talk about. But if we didn't hit everything, that's okay. Does anybody else have questions for us? Big Sexy, do you see anybody on YouTube?
No. 210 Lowdown and More said he'll subscribe, and he joined the stream from Facebook group San Antonio Halloween.
Sweet. Sweet. Again,
Yeah.
if you guys would love to volunteer your time or your music skills or whatever you feel like you want to do, we also have other projects in the works as far as script writing. Um, we have Ruben who's writing a script for the Wendigo. I don't know if that project is gonna launch anytime soon, but I know he's working really hard on that one. That is a very distinct story that I actually been reading from him and how he wants to interpret it to bring it to life. Um, so with all these projects coming up, let's see. Let's I mean, as long as we have actors, I'm sure we can make something happen. If you guys feel like you want to join us, I mean, we're always willing to. As long as I have actors, I'm willing to shoot a movie. I just have to have a great script and make sure that the script fits the actor, not the actor fits the script. That's how I like to write. And usually, whenever I write a script, I look at the actor who's portraying the script, and I'm like, let me write these lines for the actor, and then the actor can make it theirs, even more so. So we're pretty cool people. So like I said, we're not big budget studio that's portraying that, oh, we're gonna take slashers to the next year. Man, if I get a cease and desist, or what do they call it?
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah, if I get like, hey, you can't be making these movies. People are thinking you're us. I'm doing something right.
Yeah. 210 Lowdown and More also said, I would love to volunteer my time and my YouTube platform. He has over 260,000 subscribers.
Sweet.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
yeah, hit us up on Silence Productions, and then we can talk more on how we can collab. A lot of you YouTubers that are already big. I mean, you see what we've already done with no experience, and like I said, this is why I wanted to do this podcast. It's how we can get up face and personal. You guys already see us in the streets taking these free photos for you guys. We're gonna be doing it all year round. It's a non-stop project that we're passionate about. And until we run out of stories, or we just build, the next generation of slashers, the next generation of horror fans that love and know who they they love to watch, and you never know what happens. I may be inspiring my one of my own kids to write a film. I know my daughter is like, "What do you mean? I'm just a side character in Michael Myers' movie." I'm like, what?" She's like,
Can't be a main character in every movie.
"Well, she's told me that now that she has horror experience at Six Flags, that she wants me to write her a Jamie Lloyd story where she can have her own movie." And I'm like, well, it would make sense to do it now and not before Michael Myers returns, because if Michael Myers returns, then she's like a copycat. So right now, in everybody's mind, Michael Myers is dead, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
she comes in as, I'm not saying it, but I can write her as not a. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, you guys already
Yeah.
taken pictures of her. I know I had a comment uh, at the last Monster Con at Rolling Oaks. Some lady was like, "Yeah, girl, we need a girl slasher," and my daughter was like, "Yeah." You know, uh, Last night, it was Jason, Leatherface, and myself, and this dad who had like a family of dinosaurs in a dinosaur era balloon thing, right? And he's walking through with a costume, and he's like, "Oh my God, they got the three biggest dudes to play these characters, the biggest scary guys in all the world." He fully like nerded out. That was awesome. So it's like those little moments, that I think that's what makes it worthwhile. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the Peter Piper thing, I loved taking the pictures with everybody. And back to what you were saying, like people were trying to pay us for pictures, and it was just a lot of fun. I miss doing it, but
Whenever you visit back to town, man, we'll suit up and we'll go out there and we'll shoot a small skit. Oh, that's another thing. My aunt who lives in Saipan, she's like, you have a lot of kids in in your pictures there's Nicole. She tells me, right, and she goes, "Why are you trying to just scare everybody?" I said, "Well, I told her, well, Tia, that means aunt, right?" She's like, "Well, there's a lot of horror in this universe, and like if I can tell my story and show people what horror is, and bring some of these people's fears alive, because you can only ignore the fear for so long. So if we can bring them to life and show you how you can defeat it, or how you can not defeat it,
Face
but
those
yeah, you
fears.
can face those fears. Maybe you could become a fan, or you
Yep.
can know how to face them. And my dad's like, yeah, but you have a lot of kids. She was straight to the point. She's like, you still have a lot of kids. You need to make those TikToks. And dude, ever since her, my mom, like everybody I know, they keep sending me these dancing Michael Myers and these dancing characters. I'm like, thank you, appreciate it. And they're like, you should make some
Yeah.
of these. And I'm like, I'm gonna try not to, but
Even
yeah.
I send you some of those too. Like, is this you?
So I know we did a small skit, me and my cousin, for the Grinch and Michael Myers dressed up as Santa Claus. That was funny.
That's when y'all got kicked out, right?
That's
Y'all
when we
got
got
kicked
kicked
out
out of
of.
the mall, and
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're a security guard, or if you're a manager at a store, you want us to show up, we'll show up in costume, man. Like just give us permission.
Full character.
Yeah, we won't even charge you
Fake
for it.
weapons.
Yeah, well, to a point. They're doled down, okay? Our
Yeah,
chainsaw
double.
doesn't have a chain, but it is a real chainsaw, and there's no gas in it, so we're good. Um, but yeah, no, if you guys have any of that, just give us a call. We'll figure something out. We'll schedule it. Um, but yeah, so she wants us to make some spooky ones, right? And like, no kidding, man. Like in my neighborhood alone, if I told you the ratio for like kids like below my hip versus like kids as tall as me, there's so many little kids, man. And and me and Teddy are like, I look at him and he looks at me, and we're like, man, the new Jason, Rico's like, boogie boogie boogie. He takes off his mask and he scares them like that. He's like, boogie, and they still scared him. And at that point we started like going around cars and stuff, and people were like trying to drive away fast. I'm like, whoa, there's kids. So we gotta find a balance. I mean, I still want to make these iconic horror movies, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do some short skits that are
But
spooky.
you got to think also a lot of the parents too. They grew up fans of slashers, and seeing them, they're kind of like, hey, go take a picture with Michael Myers.
Oh,
Because
dude,
I know that happened a lot at the
yes.
Monster Con and
There
Peter
was
Piper's and all
there
that.
was a lady who gave me her brand new born, like in my arms. I have a knife in my hand, right? A big old kitchen knife, like a chef's knife, and
Yeah.
she's like, hold my baby. Like she didn't even ask. She just like put the baby in my arms, and I'm a dad, so I'm like, all right. I just hold the baby, and I'm looking at the baby, and it's so tiny, right? I'm like, is this a newborn? I'm in my mask, like, what the heck? Like, you just gave a total stranger a newborn.
Say, yeah, we got out of the hospital today. I'm like, oh.
And she gave me shit, man. But if we could put a smile on your face, we try our best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all we got for now. Dom, you got anything else? No.
No, I think we're good.
All right, Big Sexy for
No,
now.
I'm good.
All right,
No, for
guys.
now I'm
So,
good. I appreciate it.
and to all our listeners, thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for listening to us. Thank you for allowing us to into your phones, your computers, your PCs, your laptops, everything that you guys got going on. And if you're listening to us in your car, make sure you buckle up, drive safe. Uh, Tune in for more horrors, thrills, and chills from Silent Productions. We promise to bring you the world of slashers. Until next time, this has been Behind the Mask, unveiling silence. Stay spooky.